The radio crackled, and Brad's voice cut through the wind like shrapnel. He fired me for refusing to bypass a safety protocol that would have killed us all. He thought he held the power because he signed the checks. He was wrong. I was 200 feet in the air holding a 20-ton shipping container. And I decided to show him exactly what gravity and a Marine pushed too far could do. My name is Marcus Rivera, but on the docks they call me Steel. I'm 47 years old, been operating cranes for 15 years after spending 20 in the Marines. Today was supposed to be just another shift at the port. It wasn't. There's a specific kind of silence you only find at 200 feet. The wind never stops howling up here, battering the tempered glass like it's trying to break in. The steel structure groans and creaks under the load, metal singing that high-pitched song only an operator learns to read. Down below, the chaos of the port spreads out like a tactical map, trucks screaming, stevedores shouting, the constant clank of metal on pavement. Up here, though, it feels like Overwatch. I adjusted the controls, feeling the massive machine respond to pressure changes in the hydraulics. I know this Liebherr crane better than I knew my M1A1 tank back in Desert Storm. Every vibration, every shift in the load, every degree the wind pushes against the boom, been sitting in this seat long enough to feel when something's not right. The familiar weight of the headset reminded me of countless hours coordinating artillery strikes in Iraq. Same focused communication, same life-or-death precision. Except now, instead of calling in fire missions, I was moving containers that could crush a man like a bug if something went wrong. Steel, you copy. The voice broke my concentration. It wasn't Luis, my usual spotter. Luis understood the silence, respected the process. This was Brad Coleman's nasal whine cutting through the comm. I checked my watch, 1,400 hours, right on schedule for him to mess something up. Brad was 31 years old, wore a hard hat so clean it still had the warranty sticker, and drove a BMW that cost more than my first house. He was somebody's nephew, installed as site foreman 3 weeks ago to optimize efficiency. In Marine terms, that meant cutting corners until someone got hurt. I'd seen his type before. Second lieutenants fresh out of officer school, full of textbook knowledge and zero field experience. The kind who got Marines killed because they thought they knew better than the sergeants who'd been in country for years. Brad had that same dangerous combination of authority and ignorance. I copy Coleman, I said, keeping my voice level. I'm in the middle of a priority lift. Container 404, Charlie. Heavy load. You're moving too slow, Rivera. The trucks are backed up to the highway. We're hemorrhaging money. I need you to bypass the load dampener. Just swing it and drop it, speed over precision today. The dampener prevented the container from turning into a 20-ton wrecking ball when the wind caught it. Disabling it violated every OSHA reg in the book, company policy, and basic common sense. It was the kind of shortcut that got Marines killed in Fallujah when some eager lieutenant decided to skip the mine sweep because they were behind schedule. I'd lost 3 good men to an IED because a West Point graduate thought he knew better than the explosive ordnance disposal team. Their names were carved into my memory: Rodriguez, Murphy, and Wilson. 20-year-old kids who trusted their officers to keep them alive. I swore that day I'd never let someone's impatience get people killed again. Negative, I replied, watching the container hover steady over the truck chassis. Winds gusting at 18 knots, disable the dampener and catch a crosswind. I take out the cab. I'm not killing a driver to save you 3 minutes. I didn't ask for a lecture, Rivera. I gave you a direct order. Override the safety and speed it up. The arrogance in his voice reminded me of Lieutenant Harrison back in 2004. Same entitled tone, same assumption that rank meant intelligence. Harrison got half his platoon wounded because he wouldn't listen to his NCOs about a suspected ambush site. Some lessons you learn in blood. I looked down through the glass. From up here, people looked like ants. I could see Brad standing near the loading bay, tiny figure in an orange vest, pacing back and forth, waving his arms at the ground crew. Tourist in a combat zone, trying to command forces he didn't understand. Negative, I repeated, lowering the container with deliberate precision. The twist locks engaged with a solid thunk that vibrated up through the cables. I operate by the manual. You want it faster? Come up here and do it yourself. Radio went quiet for 10 seconds. Wind buffeted the cab, gentle rocking motion that reminded me of sleeping in a Humvee during sandstorms. I took a sip from my thermos, lukewarm coffee that tasted like motor oil. I'd pushed him, and I knew it. Men like Brad Coleman hate being told no, especially by men with grease under their fingernails. But I also knew the code. The operator controls the machine. Up here, my word was law, or so I thought. I was swinging the boom back toward the stack when the radio crackled again. This time there was no whine in Brad's voice, just cold, calculated malice. Rivera, bring the boom to rest position. I've got 3 more containers on the manifest, Coleman, I said, checking my clipboard. The Lady Jane sails at 0600. These need to be loaded, not by you. Bring it to rest. You're done. My hands froze on the controls. Say again. You heard me. You're fired. Insubordination. Refusal to follow direct orders. I'm marking it as a safety violation too. Negligence. The word hit me like incoming mortar fire. Negligence. For refusing to be negligent. Back in Ramadi, we had a saying, the only thing more dangerous than the enemy is a stupid officer. Brad Coleman was proving that axiom true in civilian life. In the Marines, you could request mast, go over a bad lieutenant's head. In corporate America, the nephew of the Port Authority director was untouchable. You can't fire me over the radio, Coleman, I said, voice dropping to that quiet register that made recruits straighten up. And you definitely can't fire me for following safety protocols. Union rep will have your head. Already called the Union Hall. Brad lied. I could hear the smirk. Told them you were operating under the influence. Erratic behavior, slurred speech. Pulling you off the controls immediately. Pack your gear and climb down. Security's waiting to escort you off the property. My blood went cold. Not just a firing. Career execution. Drunk on duty would strip my license, kill my pension, destroy the reputation I'd spent 15 years building. He was torching my life because I wouldn't let him break the rules. Rosa and I had talked about this kind of thing over dinner just last week. Corporate types coming in, changing procedures that had worked for decades, cutting safety margins to boost quarterly numbers. She'd watched it happen at the aircraft factory where she worked quality control. Good people forced out, replaced by yes men who wouldn't push back when management made dangerous decisions. You know what scares me most? She'd said, passing me the mashed potatoes. It's not the accidents waiting to happen. It's that nobody seems to remember why we have these rules in the first place. She was right. Every safety protocol was written in someone's blood. Every checklist, every procedure, every fail-safe existed because somewhere, sometime, someone got hurt or killed when those steps were skipped. In the Marines, we called it paying the stupid tax. In civilian life, they called it cost of doing business. Down in the yard, I could see the security cruiser, lights flashing near the crane base. Brad stood next to it, arms crossed, looking up at me. So small from up here, but holding the power to ruin everything. You copy, Rivera? Brad barked. Power down and get down here now. I looked at the control panel. Green lights across the board, engine humming with that deep, powerful bass note. I looked at the exit gate, single choke point in and out of this section of port. Narrow causeway flanked by concrete barriers and deep harbor water. The tactical part of my brain started analyzing the terrain. One exit, no alternate routes. Choke point vulnerability. If something blocked that road, nothing moved. The entire operation would grind to a halt. Supply lines cut, mission compromised. Sometimes in Iraq, when intel was bad and command was making stupid decisions, a good sergeant had to improvise. Had to take action that wasn't technically authorized, but served the greater mission. We called it leadership initiative. The brass called it insubordination. But when it worked, when it saved lives, suddenly everyone forgot to write you up. You want me to stop working? I asked, voice calm as calling in artillery coordinates. I want you gone. Roger that. Coleman, I said. I'll stop working, but first, I got one last mission to complete. I grabbed the joystick and swung hard left, out toward the priority stack. The crane responded instantly. Massive boom sweeping across the sky like the barrel of a tank. Down on the ground, confusion rippled through the crew. Men stopped, looked up. They knew the shift wasn't over. They knew that swing path wasn't toward the ship. Luis, my apprentice, was standing near the container yard. Kid reminded me of myself at 22, eager to learn, respectful of the equipment and the dangers. He'd been asking about applying for crane operator school. Wanted to know if the pay was worth the responsibility. I'd been planning to recommend him for the program next month. Now Brad would probably blacklist him for associating with me. Another good worker sacrificed to corporate politics. Rivera, what are you doing? Brad's voice spiked with panic. I said power down. I ignored him, focused on the target. Container 404 Charlie, painted military green, sitting on top of stack 4. Been there for 3 days, flagged for special handling by Brad himself. He'd been obsessing over it, screaming at anyone who got too close. Posted security around it like it contained nuclear secrets. The container looked wrong from up here, too clean for scrap metal, too heavily guarded for recycling. And why was it scheduled to ship to Malaysia on a route that avoided customs checkpoints? In Afghanistan, we learned to spot things that didn't belong. IDs disguised as trash piles, weapons caches hidden in grain shipments, enemy fighters dressed as civilians. Your life depended on recognizing when something was off, when the story didn't match the evidence. The spreader lowered. Twist locks engaged with metallic authority that rang through the steel cables. I lifted 20 tons of steel rose into the air, hanging effortless. The crane's load sensors showed 42,000 pounds. The manifest said 18,000. That wasn't scrap metal. That was dense, heavy equipment. Rivera, put that down. Brad was screaming, now that's not on your manifest. Put it down. You fired me, Coleman, I said into the mic. I don't work for you anymore. Just cleaning up. The radio went silent for a moment, then Brad's voice came back. Different now, desperate. Marcus, listen to me. You don't understand what you're dealing with. Put the container down, and we can work this out. I can restore your job, give you a raise. Just put it down. First time he'd used my first name. First time he'd offered anything besides threats. That told me everything I needed to know. Whatever was in that container, it wasn't scrap metal bound for recycling. It was something Brad Coleman couldn't afford to have examined. I slewed the crane toward the main gate. Single exit road currently empty except for one security guard standing there with his mouth open. That road was a bridge, essentially. Block it, and nothing moved. 20 trucks lined up to leave. Trapped. Lady Jane's cargo? Trapped. Brad's precious efficiency metrics obliterated. The security guard was Officer Miller. Good man who'd been working the docks for 12 years. Former Army, did 2 tours in Afghanistan around the same time I was there. We'd talked about the war over coffee a few times. He understood the weight of responsibility, the cost of making the wrong call under pressure. Miller was looking up at me now, probably wondering what the hell was going on. In a few seconds, he'd have his answer. I positioned the container directly over the narrowest point of the exit road. Checked my screens. No personnel, no vehicles. Just asphalt and concrete barriers. Perfect drop zone. Rivera, don't you dare. Brad shrieked over the radio, I'll have you arrested. I'll sue you for everything. Already took my job and reputation, I said, hand hovering over the release toggle. Nothing left to threaten me with. Wind gauge read 12 knots. Steady. Perfect drop conditions. The container swayed gently. 20 tons of steel suspended by cables in my judgment. In Desert Storm, we called moments like this the point of no return, when you've committed to an action and there's no going back. This one's for bypassing safety protocols, I whispered. I hit the release, clamps disengaged. For half a second, the container hung there, suspended by nothing but momentum. Then physics took over. The green box plummeted, falling flat and true like a guided bomb. Impact shook the entire crane tower. Boom, sound like C4 going off. Dust and concrete fragments sprayed skyward. The container slammed into the roadway, embedding in the tarmac, turning the exit gate into a 20-ton steel wall. But it didn't just land. Impact force was so violent it split the rusted seams like a can opener. I leaned forward, squinting through the settling dust. It was supposed to be empty, or maybe filled with low-grade steel destined for recycling. That's what 404 Charlie read on the manifest. But through my binoculars, I saw something else entirely. Military communication equipment. Encrypted radio sets still in their protective cases, night vision scopes, GPS units with Department of Defense markings, thermal imaging devices, satellite communication gear. My stomach dropped. That wasn't scrap metal. That was active military hardware worth millions. High-tech equipment that belonged to the United States military, not some recycling center in Malaysia. I'd seen those same radio models in Iraq, and PRC-117 tactical radios, encrypted for classified communications. The night vision goggles were AIN and PVS-14s, standard issue for special operations. The GPS units were military grade, accuracy within inches, used for artillery targeting and close air support. This was the kind of equipment that gave American forces tactical superiority on the battlefield, the kind of gear that kept Marines alive in hostile territory. And Brad Coleman was shipping it overseas in containers marked as scrap metal. Oops, I said into the radio, slipped. The silence that followed was deafening. Even the wind seemed to stop. Below me, Miller was staring at the spilled military hardware, his training kicking in. He pulled out his radio, probably calling for backup and federal agents. I reached for the crane's ignition, twisted the key off, and pulled it from the slot. Engine died, leaving sudden, ringing silence. I looked at the key in my hand, small piece of metal that controlled a $2 million machine. Then I opened the side window. Salt wind rushed in, cold and biting. Rivera, Brad whispered over the radio, voice shaking. "What have you done?" The fear in his voice told me everything. This wasn't simple theft. This was treason. Selling military equipment to foreign buyers, equipment that could end up in enemy hands. American technology used against American soldiers. I thought about Rodriguez, Murphy, and Wilson again. Young Marines who died because someone decided profit was more important than their lives. Brad Coleman was cut from the same cloth as the defense contractors who sold defective body armor, the logistics companies that shipped expired ammunition, the politicians who sent troops into battle without proper equipment. I leaned out the window and tossed the key. It caught sunlight for a split second before disappearing into the dark water 200 feet below. "Come and get me," I said to dead air. The descent from a crane tower is punishment for young legs. For a 47-year-old with shrapnel in his knee, it's agony. But I'd made the climb under fire in Fallujah. This was just another mission. By the time I reached the ground, a crowd had gathered. Luis, my apprentice, looking shocked and confused, Tony from the warehouse shaking his head but not unsympathetic, Officer Miller approaching with backup but not rushing to cuff me. Marcus, Brad came sprinting over, face purple with rage. 2 port cops flanked him, but they looked uncomfortable. They knew me. Knew I brought donuts every Friday. Knew I'd never caused trouble in 15 years. "You maniac," Brad screamed, stopping inches from my face, spit flying. "You've destroyed company property, blocked federal transit. I'll bury you under the prison." I stood my ground, looking down at him from my full height. The rage coming off him felt familiar. Same desperate fury I'd seen from insurgent leaders when their weapons caches got discovered. Same panic of someone whose entire operation just got exposed. I'm off duty, Coleman," I said calmly. "You fired me, remember? Move that crane, get back up there and move that container." "Can't. Key's gone." His eyes went wide. He looked at the harbor, then back at me, then up at the 200-foot tower. Reality hit him. He couldn't move the container, couldn't move the crane, couldn't clear the road. And every minute that passed, more people were getting a good look at the military hardware spilled across the asphalt. "Arrest him," Brad shrieked at the cops. Officer Miller stepped forward. "Coleman, we're port security, not NCIS. We can't arrest him for standing here." "He sabotaged the port. Accident," I said. "Like you said on the radio, I'm negligent. Clumsy old me." I walked toward my pickup, Brad grabbing at my arm. I shook him off like he weighed nothing. "I'll be in the parking lot," I said, "since I can't leave because someone blocked the exit." "Guess the real cops will want to see the manifest for that container you're so worried about." Brad went white. Color just drained right out of his face like someone had opened a valve. 20 minutes later, my phone rang. Tommy Martinez, old Navy corpsman who worked safety inspection now. "Steele, you crazy Marine." Tommy's voice crackled through. Port scanners lighting up. "Catastrophic blockage. Federal investigation team en route." "That you? Roger? That Doc? You okay?" "Physically. Yeah. Legally? About to be in deep water. What do you need?" "Got fired by that nepotism hire Coleman. He tried to frame me for drinking. I dropped a container to block the road." Tommy chuckled, subtle as always. "Container split open. Doc, military hardware inside. Communication gear, night vision, GPS units with due D markings." Coleman was shipping it overseas in containers marked as scrap. The line went quiet. "That's federal. Marcus, defense contractor theft. If he's selling military equipment to foreign buyers, I need you to prove it. Because in 20 minutes, federal agents are going to be here and Coleman's going to paint me as a drunk who destroyed the port. I need to flip this. Sit tight. Don't say anything. I'm pulling the digital manifests now. If he falsified federal shipping documents, there's a paper trail. I'll bring backup from the base." While I waited, I called Rosa, had to hear her voice, had to know she understood what I'd done and why. "Marcus, you're supposed to be at work for another 4 hours. Got fired today, babe. Might be arrested too. Wanted you to hear it from me first." Silence then. What happened? I told her everything. The safety violation order, the false drinking accusation, the military equipment. She listened without interrupting, the way she'd learned to do when I came back from Iraq with nightmares and needed to talk through the bad dreams. You did the right thing, she said finally. Those boys you lost in Fallujah, they'd be proud. You didn't let another corrupt officer get people killed. Might lose the house. Pension's probably gone, then we'll figure it out. We've been through worse. Remember when you came home and couldn't sleep for 6 months? When the VA said there was nothing wrong with you. We got through that. We'll get through this. Rosa understood. 22 years of marriage to a Marine had taught her the difference between following orders and doing what's right. She knew I couldn't live with myself if I'd let Brad Coleman ship weapons to America's enemies just to keep my job. 20 minutes later, 2 black SUVs rolled past the blockade. Federal agents. Tommy Martinez climbed out of the first one, moving with that Navy limp he'd carried since Kosovo. Next to him was a woman in a federal windbreaker I didn't recognize. Agent Janet Torres, Naval Criminal Investigative Service, she said, showing her badge. Mr. Rivera, we need to talk. Behind her, Brad was frantically arguing with 2 other agents, pointing at the split container, waving his arms. But the agents weren't listening to him. They were photographing the spilled military equipment, bagging evidence, treating it like a crime scene. Mr. Rivera, Agent Torres said, we've been tracking stolen military hardware for 6 months. That container holds equipment worth $3 million, stolen from 3 different bases. Did you know what was inside when you dropped it? No, ma'am. Manifest said recycled steel, but when it split, I recognized the gear from my time in the Corps. She nodded, making notes. Mr. Coleman has been routing stolen military equipment through this port for months. Shell companies in Malaysia, Syria, Iran. We've been building a case, waiting for the right moment to move. You just handed us the smoking gun, so I'm not under arrest. Mr. Rivera, you just exposed a federal contractor selling weapons to designated terrorist organizations. Coleman's network has been shipping night vision, encrypted communications, and GPS targeting systems to groups that use them against American forces. You may have saved lives. Across the yard, Brad Coleman was being loaded into the back of an FBI vehicle, hands cuffed behind his back. He caught my eye through the window, mouthing something I couldn't hear and didn't care to understand. Agent Torres continued, we'll need your full statement, but understand this. What you did today disrupted an enemy supply line. In military terms, that's a successful mission. Tommy slapped my shoulder. Told you that Marine training would come in handy someday. What about my job? Already talked to Port Authority, Torres said. You're reinstated effective immediately with back pay. They're also offering you the position of Security Compliance Director. Turns out they need someone who can spot when things don't add up. 6 months later, I was sitting on my back deck, cold beer in hand, watching the sunset paint the harbor in shades of gold and orange. Rosa was inside making dinner, humming some old song from when we were dating. The congressional hearing had been a circus. Senators demanding answers about how $50 million worth of military equipment had ended up in terrorist hands. Defense contractors pointing fingers, port authorities claiming ignorance. But the facts were simple. Brad Coleman had been stealing from his own company and selling to America's enemies. His network included 3 other ports, 2 logistics companies, and a dozen shell corporations. 27 people went to federal prison. New oversight procedures got implemented nationwide. Brad got 25 years in a federal facility, no parole. Turns out when you commit treason in wartime, judges don't mess around. Last I heard, he was learning that BMW payments don't matter much when you're making license plates. Company offered me early retirement with full pension, but I stayed on. Someone needed to train the next generation of operators, teach them that some things matter more than paychecks. Luis got promoted to lead operator. Kid learned that standing up to corruption beats keeping your head down. I took a sip of beer and looked at the camera they'd set up for this documentary. People asked me if I was scared when I dropped that container, if I worried about losing everything. Truth is, yeah, I was terrified. But here's what 20 years in the Marines taught me. Sometimes you have to choose between following orders and doing what's right. And when some privileged kid threatens your livelihood for refusing to help America's enemies, well, that's when you remember what you swore to protect. I raised my beer toward the harbor. Semper Fi means always faithful. Faithful to the core, faithful to your brothers, faithful to your country, not to some corporate executive's profit margins. Do your job, do it right, and when someone tries to make you compromise those principles, make sure you're holding something heavy enough to drop on their plans. I smiled at the camera. If this story touched you, hit that like button. And remember, the best revenge isn't getting even. It's letting gravity and the truth do the work for you. Semper Fi. Because at the end of the day, your integrity is the only thing they can't take away from you. Not your job, not your pension, not your reputation. And sometimes the heaviest thing you'll ever lift isn't steel. It's the weight of doing what's right when everyone else is looking the other way. They say revenge is a dish best served cold. But I learned something better that day. Justice is a dish best served with evidence. And when you're 200 feet up holding the smoking gun that exposes the real criminals, well, that's when gravity becomes your best ally and their worst nightmare.